Well, how the heck are you?
I am great. How are you?
Great. I'm good.
Yeah, you
Good.
guys had a good weekend.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Definitely a good weekend. A little too
Awesome.
much sun, though.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. It is August 31st. I can't believe that tomorrow is going to be September. Crazy month. Some of you guys had a killer month. Congratulations to Meg hitting Success Club 10 and Emerald this month. High five. We had a couple new Emeralds. I don't think anybody else is on the call, though, any of the new Emeralds. So I want to take a minute and welcome our guest tonight. I'm super excited to have him. He's loaded with energy, so I hope you guys are ready. I had the pleasure and the privilege of speaking on his call last week, and it was just great. He's got a great team behind him. Judd Welte is on our call tonight. He is married to his wife, Christy, for 12 years. He is a father of 3. Judd and Christy are both full-time coaches. So he's been a coach since 2010. Is that right?
that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So 2010, he got to 3-star in 3 months in the business, 5-star in 6 months, and 10-star in 15 months in the business. So he's a 10-star diamond in his first, 2-star in his second, and diamond in his third. He's a Success Club 10 all-star. We talk about Success Club, guys, every week really being the basis for success in this business. He has 15 personally sponsored diamonds, and he is an ex-railroader with background in real estate and mortgage. He's going to talk to us tonight about how these struggles that we all go through as coaches really kind of help us really harness the business and kind of move forward, and how you really can have this kind of longevity and success in the business if you're really willing to really look big picture and think long term. So, Judd, I'm going to turn it right over to you.
Right on. Well, hey, thanks again, Brianna, for having me on. I love stuff like this. I love connecting with other moms and dads and just other men and women, that are in the business that are striving to, build something for their family, however big or small that really looks, to you. But my story, though, I tell you what, it's not all rainbows and sunshine. That's for sure. So, I mean, she talks about, 3-star and 3, 5 and 6 and 10 and all that, blah, blah, blah. But what that doesn't show is my failure too, because I had massive failure in the middle of that, where I didn't know how to come back from. But I just figured out that I'm not a quitter and I'm going to figure it out. And that's what we did. So, but it all started, I'll kind of start from the beginning real quick, and I'll kind of just jump through so I don't, take 4 hours for a call. But, I was the classic gym rat. I am the classic gym rat with a different mentality now. To this day, in the very beginning, before I became a coach, I had seen P90X on TV. I'd laughed at it. I was that guy. I was that guy that was like, and I know you guys have probably all come in contact with women and men that are like, oh, that stuff doesn't work. That's like whatever. I was exactly that person. So, ego this big. I have no reason why, but I was the gym guy that had that kind of ego. Not that I was mean to people. I just thought I knew it all, And so, fast forward to my old buddy, running into my coach, my old buddy in gymnastics, where our kids do gymnastics. And he did what he was supposed to do in the business. He formed me. We hadn't seen each other in 5 or 10 years. And so then we connected, and it was an awesome conversation. He ended up coming over the next day, and he shared with me, because I've always kind of been into supplements, never really knew, I was like, again, remember, I was the guy that thought he knew it all, right? So, never knew if they were really the right, good supplements or not. So, and so he introduced me to Shakeology, and I immediately flipped it over like I knew what I was looking at. And I read some things on there that I was able to identify with my mom. And my mom has had lupus, fibromyalgia, and rheumatoid arthritis for, at that time, about 19, 20 years. And been a coach 5 years now, so you can, do the math on that. But and so I called my mom and I said, hey, have you ever heard of this? Blah, 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 and she's like, nope, and my mom was kind of, when I was growing up, she was the 2-piece bathing suit mom who my parents, we always traveled. We went to, Mexico a lot and went to Baja and always were on trips where she was in bathing suits. She was the aerobics mom, and when she got those 3 diseases, when they started really affecting her body, she was bedridden mom. You know what I mean? Hadn't vacuumed in 15 years, hadn't washed down in 18. You know what I mean? It was like I'd lost my mom, so in a certain way. And $800, $900 a month in medication, and medications just completely, my mom is just such a loving person, and it just kind of, changed her over a course of time, and she gained some weight. And so fast forward to actually, my coach selling me 3 bags. He had 3 bags in his car, maybe some overstock of what he ordered or whatever. And so I bought 3 bags, didn't sign up to be a coach. And he had made me one at my house. And I was like, wow, this is healthy. It was like, that's pretty good. It made me the original chocolate. And this is 5 years ago. So it's changed a few times, but anyways, so I loved it. I thought, wow, okay, this has got some things in there that can really help my mom. And so I drove over to my mom's house. She lived about 1.5 miles away. My parents do. And made my mom one. She took it to her doctor about a week later. Doctor didn't know anything about it. And she took it to several of her doctors. And so they said, hey, it's just food. Just, go for it. It's fine. It's, not a big deal. And so after about 30 days of my mom being on it, my mom did some, my dad called me, and my dad goes, hey, what'd you give mom? And I said, well, why? Because I didn't give it to him. I gave it to her. And so he goes, I just noticed a little more pep in her step. 60 days later, my dad, and I talk to my parents all the time, but this is just things that come back to mind over this time period. And my dad said, she's vacuuming. I'm like, no, she's not. So I actually had to drive over there and see that my mom was actually up and doing stuff. And about 90 days later, it was the washing down the backyard. My mom had energy. My dad's going, man, this stuff is, we haven't, at this point, we hadn't changed anything in her diet. We hadn't changed anything except add this shake. Right. And so being me, I called my buddy back and I said, look, dude, you've got to come back over, because everything you told me about the business, everything you told me about this product, I said, it went in one ear and out the other. And, I can't deny what's happening to my mom this last 90 days. I said, I just can't deny, something's going on. So he comes back over and signs me up to be a coach, explains the business real quick, all that, and, for me, he goes, this company. And I said, I do. How do I know this company? He goes, well, you see him on TV with, Insanity and P90X and those workout things that you see on TV, all those infomercials. And I was like, oh my gosh, are you serious? And I said, that shit doesn't work. I'm like, this company owns all of that? Are you crazy? But then I had to go back and think about my mom and her and what's been happening with my mom. The belief factor with what was going on with her was just, I couldn't deny it. You know what I mean? So, and so he goes, there's an event tomorrow, which I think he was over on a Thursday, and there was an SOS event Pete Pena was putting on in Las Vegas. At the time, I lived in Bakersfield, California, so it's like a 4.5-hour drive. And they used to have these really cool events, and Tony Horton was going to be there, and who I didn't care about at the time. And so he goes, if you really want to take a big look at this business, you need to go to this event with me. And so I looked at my wife, and we had just had our third, our last kid, our last son, Brody, who was, he was, I don't know what, a couple months old at the time. He is a couple months old. And she goes, no, hey, if you think it's worth looking into, look at your mom. You can't deny that, go take a look. So we drove to Vegas real fast. And I left that event so inspired and so connected to the people that were talking on stage, to the success stories, and I don't know if you all, go to all the events or whatever, but that for me, that was 5 years ago next month. And I haven't looked back since that trip to Vegas. That did it for me, because I didn't even work out with Tony Horton. I was too egotistic to go even do the workout with Tony Horton. You know what I mean? And I'm being honest, because I'm just like, I didn't have personal development in my life at all. So I didn't even know what it was. And so I left that event just completely inspired. And from that point on, it's just been a whirlwind. And what helped me build the business was getting in front of people, of course. And at the time, Mike had a little fit club. And so Mike and I, my coach, Mike, we figured out how to bring people to us. That was our main goal, was to help the community with free fit clubs. And so, and that's, when we talk about rank, when we talk about, getting to 3-star and 5-star, I was a 5-star diamond, and I didn't even know what it was. You know what I mean? I didn't know, 3-star diamond was like, huh? Because I wasn't focused on rank. I wasn't focused on the money. I was focused on, this is help me get my mom back, off of $900 of medication, off of, being able to move around, being able to go on walks, being able to do the things, because she made one choice to start drinking this one shake that gave her the nutrients that she was missing. That's what's so powerful about that. So when I hit 3-star diamond, there was an event in Bakersfield held, and corporate was coming in, and I was told that, hey, go to this event because, it's obviously it's for us. They're going to give you some props for doing it so fast, whatever, So I asked my mom, I said, hey, you need to go to this event. You'll meet some people that have, drinking Shakeology, and you'll learn more about it, and I'll learn more about it too, so we need to go together. And so she goes to the event with me. At the end of the event, she was able to talk to numerous people there, that had lost 100 pounds, 150, 80 pounds, 70 pounds, all these things. And my mom had about 40 pounds to lose. And she came to me and she goes, you've heard about this P90X thing, right? And I said, yeah. I said, I know all about it now, and she goes, why can't I do it? And I looked at her and I was like, well, I don't know. Why can't you? And she goes, why can't you do it with me? And I was like, and at this time, remember, I go to the gym. You know what I mean? I don't do home workouts. That was my mentality still as a 3-star diamond at that event, getting recognition on stage. So it wasn't about that. And so at that point, I told my mom, I was like, I can't let you do it by yourself. So I drove to my mom's house for 90 days straight, and we did P90X together, my first round of P90X. And remember, the gym rat had never seen his abs before. And in 90 days, I saw my abs. And that made me more mad than ever that this home workout program, and for being a guy, I'm just being honest, it was like a big deal, that I saw my abs in 90 days, and it was out of my mind. So of course my belief factor just kept going up. At that time, I'll be honest with you, I was terrible at social media. I wasn't even on it. I didn't share that with anybody. Only people that saw me, of course, all my gym rat friends, oh, you're getting skinnier, they were, so I didn't do a very good job of sharing that at all. The only thing I did do is make 3 videos about my mom on YouTube. I was told, go on YouTube, make some videos about what's going on with your mom. And so I did, and so that's obviously been a big deal now, in the last few years, because a lot of people have viewed those. But so doing P90X with my mom, having her have her success, with some weight loss, feeling better. I mean, I have my mom back now. You know what I mean? There is not a soul on the planet that can take my belief away. You know what I mean? I'm in the best shape of my life at that point, and I'm going, okay, this stuff, everything that they have works. And I have to figure out a way to share this, because I can't be so self-centered, so egotistical that I cannot share this stuff because I like to go to the gym. So that's where the fit clubs came in. That's where, Mike and I really going, okay. And at this point, of course, we're signing up coaches, and we have working coaches. And at this point also, you have to remember, there was no coach training academy. There was no, tracker sheets, coach tracker and customer track. There's nothing. I mean, literally, there isn't anything. We're creating it at that time, kind of, is what we're doing, and in fact, part of about a year into it, my first summit, I got to speak on stage, which was not long after. And that was part of the training, is that they filmed a bunch of us for one of the first parts of the training they put out. And I'm telling you what, it wasn't very good. It wasn't what we have now, So fit clubs and how we built. So of course we have this massive belief. I got plugged into Mike's fit club that he had going, about 15, 20 people going. And then, so we sat down and we figured out, how can we duplicate this? Because of course this business is all about, not reinventing the wheel, right? You guys have amazing training. You guys don't need to recreate it, brand it yourself, brand it your own team names if you need, and use it, get good at it. And so that's what we did with fit clubs. We literally showed every single person how to duplicate a fit club. And we had fit clubs going all across the country. That's how Mike, initially went 15 star and I went 10. At that time, we didn't know to stop at 9 or 10, because of volume and all those things, So I got the cue at 10, and then and that's when I started opening up other business centers. So we got really good at that. And one tip on fit clubs, if you guys do them in your cities, towns or whatever, get email addresses and phone numbers of your news stations and your radio stations, and let them know, or have your participants let them know, that you are hosting a free community fit club to help people get fit and healthy, period. Don't say anything else. And let them, don't say anything else as far as, that needs to be your heading on there. And we've done this a lot now. And that really gets the news stations interest, and that's what you want to do, is get their interest so they actually show up. And they did to ours. We had about 20 people working out, and they actually interviewed, of course, the 3 people that had never been before, and we were all doing Kempo X, and so they interviewed these 3 people at different age groups and actually different sizes, which was kind of interesting. And it was amazing because they loved our fit club. The next, a couple days later, they did a story on our fit club, and it went from the next week at 80 people, 150, 200, 250 a week we have coming to our fit club. So you can imagine, we have all of these people in the community. We have, from churches to, just massive amounts of people that were backing us, because we weren't there to try to sell them anything. We were just there. We would always introduce ourselves at the front of the fit club. Why are we here? Because we want to help you get fit and healthy, and we have the way. That's why. We were very confident in what we were doing, and we went around and talked to everybody and helped everybody. And we were actually calling our coaches going, will you please show up? There's so many people here. We can't talk to them all. And that's how we got the people there. It wasn't about, having Shakeology set up everywhere. It wasn't about, it was simply about connecting with people. And now more than ever with social media, that's all you want to do. You just want to get them connected to your social media, and then let them follow you, let them connect with you because you run your social media a certain way. They're going to feel you. They're going to feel how you live and what you're about, because social media is so in front of their face. And so that's that's how initially we got to 10 star, and we built, from that point on. But really, it all came back downhill, hardcore. We were just on this high. It was like, oh, wow, this is amazing, And at that time, remember, there wasn't really any training. I had never done anything like this in my entire life. I come from railroad and real estate, and owning a mortgage company. And I didn't have any expertise in this at all. And I wasn't doing any big amount of personal development, which in the middle of when I hit about 5 to 7 stars when I started, because I was making a lot of mistakes, making so many mistakes. I had 20 people join in a day or a week, 30 people joining a week personally, and 20 or 30 people leaving a week personally. You know what I mean? I just didn't know how to do that right. And so personal development came into my life. And I could name all the books I've read, or actually all the audios I've listened to, but I guarantee you they're all the ones that you guys, have available. There isn't, my recommendation on personal development is there's no kids here, right? So what you suck at, that's what you need to read. You need to find what it is, if it's inviting, if it's recruiting, if it's connecting, if it's getting out of your comfort zone, whatever that is to you. And for me, it was multiple. So, I had to get slapped in the face about 15 different times, 15 different ways. And so I went from 10 star. I went from 10 star. I'll never forget. I went to 10 star. I got my first 10 star bonus, which was amazing. Right. And went back down to 6 star, and then got my 5-star bonus, and then went down to 3 star, and then went to 2 star, and then built back up to 7, and then 10, and then back. I yo-yoed like you wouldn't. I don't know. Have I been the coach longest here? So, I think I have, right? So I have lost rank probably more times than every single one of you combined. And you know what? I'm still here today, and I'll never leave, because it's so worth it to go through that and to learn. And, God forbid that you have to, experience it as much as I've had to in the past. But having gone through it and having the no quit mentality has got me to where I'm at today, which is, I'm a full-time dad, stay at home with my wife, who's also a full-time coach. And we have moved our family down to the beach where we've always dreamed of living, from what I call a dirt hole town that we were, we're lived all of our lives, and we're living our dream right now. But if I hadn't, muscled through those times of losing a massive amount of coaches, and that's not only one way I lost them, because, we lost them when other network marketing companies came up, right? Well, it hit our town hardcore. Nerium, the Saran Wrap company, whatever that is, the skincare. You name it, that our town had like, it was like a whirlwind that passed through. You know what I mean? And so, of course, a lot of those people are back because, we're still here, and all those companies fizzle out, and you're going to go through that. That's one thing I've learned in this business, that you're going to always have the next shiny object that people are going to look at, and some people are going to go. That's you can't stop them, right? But if you're still there and you're still leading by example, and that means, doing your workouts, drinking your shakes, fixing your own nutrition, sharing your struggles, being you on social media and in person, they're going to come back. I would say the ones that I wanted to come back, they've all came back. And they brought people, so that's, that's really, something that you're going to go through those times where you feel like quitting. I have felt like quitting this business. Oh my gosh. In the beginning, I would say the first 3.5 years, probably into the 4 years, there's been times where I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what am I doing? And, and it's never been about money for me. It's never been about, the money's great, But I think back when I was at the railroad, when I was 3 days away from home in a Motel 6 with, roaches outside the door that were as big as my cat. And I think about, being away from my kids. And I think about, when I owned a mortgage company, when I was traveling and I was so stressed out of my mind, money was amazing. Right. But no time to spend it and nobody to spend it with because I was gone all the time. You know what I mean? I think about those times and I'm like, wow, okay, I'm home with my family every single day. I get to lay on the couch in my boxers and work, and I can make videos all day helping people. And I, to this day, don't get me wrong, we live at the beach now, which we have a lot smaller place and we're right by the beach. Right. So, my wife does her workout. She's a diehard workout at home. I go to the gym every single day. I haven't worked out at home in over 3 years, 2.5, 3 years. But now that with Beachbody On Demand, it's a lot easier for me to use our stuff instead of taking papers with me and having to memorize everything and watch it 100 times, But I am the guy who still works out at the gym. I love that social atmosphere. I meet a ton of people there. That's kind of my thing, this has all brought me into a different world of doing physique shows and bodybuilding shows and that kind of stuff. I was never that guy. I was always the guy who dreamt about doing that. I was always the guy who, would open up the magazine and be like, gosh, that would be so cool to look like that for one day, so we're getting to live out our dreams because we didn't give up when the times got tough, when we lost rank and lost some income and we had to fight to get it back. We had to, get better at what we were not good at or what we were lacking at to continue to grow. And that all comes back to personal development. Every single time I've wanted to quit, my wife has thrown a book at me. I'm not kidding. Or whenever it's throw a book or message me a link to audio. That's really what she's done. Because I don't sit down and read very much, but I can jump on my bike and go for a ride or my beach cruiser and put my headphones on and listen to audio riding down the beach. And that's how I do it, or I'm on a machine. Yes, I'm on a cardio machine. I'm on my stairs at the gym, but I can totally zone out and be listening to, something that's going to help me continue to improve our business, continue to lead our team. And I thank God every single day for the opportunity that has made us strong enough not to give up, because the lives that we've changed on our team, the people that have, that are hitting this, hitting their income goals, going full time, all these things that are happening in their lives. If I would have quit a long time ago, then none of those things would happen. Not to mention all the weight loss people that we've helped and all the lives that get changed in this business. So, my thing to you is look, it's more than you. This is bigger than you. This is bigger than all of us. It's really about everybody else. And if you focus on them, you're going to get what you want. That's just how it works. But as far as, the rest of my story, it's still being written because I'm never going to give up. And there's still challenges in front of us. There's still personal development to be done. There's, and I'm the guy, just like my wife, my wife and I we're one of those ones, but we'll never miss an event. I drove 4.5 hours to my first one. And, that's to some, from what I've heard, like in Ohio and, other states, that's nothing. But I've heard them drive through snowstorms and stuff like that. Kind of crazy to my buddy Tommy Migrants events. But I tell you what, it's that important. Like Super Saturday is coming up, here in a little bit over a month. These things are just non-negotiable. Of course, we hold our own here. But these are the things that keep us fueled. And when your team sees you doing these things, when your followers, when your voyeuristic social media followers see you doing these things, and you're following your coach's advice on social media of what to do, they're going to want to join you. It might not be tomorrow. I've had people call me from 3 years ago, 4 years ago, and say, I've been following you all this long. I need help. This is what and then boom, there you go. So it's continue to lead by example and don't be afraid to share. That's been, in the very beginning for me, I was so afraid to share me. I was so afraid to share our struggles. My wife had to write out part of our story when I was sleeping, and she posted it, knowing that was the right thing to do because she was doing all the studying too. And she's a Star Diamond coach, and she's, done just as much as I have. Right. And so, but she knew I have my weaknesses. I have my struggles still too. And best thing we could have ever done was share, and share, be real. And that's, when you're not in a business like this and you're not doing personal development, some of those things are so, they don't feel real. They don't feel like, why would I ever do that? Type thing. But then you're going to help so many other people, because that's how many people are on Facebook. That's how many people are in this world. That just shows you that the connection is so strong. You're going to connect with people, and that's what builds that relationship. So, I could ramble on so much, Brianne, but I tell you what, I tried to, paint the picture of part of our story on this. And, where I work best, it is Q&A. So, I mean, if you guys want to have any type of Q&A or anything, but I don't want to go too long on that. So.
No, I mean, we can see if anybody has questions. What I kind of would not like to, but I think would be really helpful for the coaches. So you talked a little bit about, you get that momentum, you build to 3-star, you build to 5-star, you build to 10-star, and diamonds quit. I think anybody who, I've had diamonds quit. I think we all have, as far as leaders in the network, we've all had diamonds quit. And I think, what do you feel like is the biggest difference in your diamonds, or somebody even like you that has pushed through all of this, and then the diamonds that say, you know what, I really worked hard, I got to diamond, but something tells them to throw in the towel? I mean,
for me, I tell you what, that comes back. One word comes to mind, and that's their mindset. Their mindset. I mean, because I know where my mindset was, and I know where my mindset, has gone in the past, and I've had to bring it back, and I've had to use personal development. And I tell you what, it's so. I know people struggle with spending that time to do personal development, but the ones that do, the ones that actually do it, are the ones that are going to be around a year from now, 2 years from now. They're never gonna leave. And the ones that don't do it because and I'll just say it, some of them think they're too good for it. Some of them think that, oh, I don't need that. I was that guy. I can say that. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, no, I've built a mortgage company. I've done this and I've done that. All ego. You know what I mean? And until I got that under wraps, and really figured out, like, wow, okay, I'm here to help people. I'm here to, do this and that and the other. It was all my mindset, and learning that, no matter what they go do, no matter what business they start, no matter what, they're either going to go help build somebody else's dreams. And I know you guys have all heard this, or they're going to spend the time to focus and build their own mindset so they can build their own freedom. You know what I mean? And that's just I don't know how else to put that, because there's really no, I'm not trying to be nice about it, but I mean, the thing is, we've all had those people we look at and we go, gosh, I can see it. They're going to be awesome. You would be so great. And you just want to tell them, read this book, just get this, and understand it. And once you do, boom, but some of those people, they can't, or they won't spend the time. And it's unfortunate, because once you get this business rolling, and once you get past diamond, building a diamond's important. Obviously it's a big milestone. But like on my team, and on, just like I'm sure on yours, every team, it's just a stepping stone. It's a stepping stone. It's important, but getting to that star diamond ranks, it doesn't have to be, what's the best way to put this? It doesn't, getting to the star diamond ranks, obviously you're helping other people, get to what you just did. You're duplicating your efforts. You know what I mean? So if you built with fit clubs like I did, then I'm going to show them, and we're going to teach, my coaches how to do that same thing. If that's our thing, you know what I mean? We're going to, if it's social media, it's duplicating that. It's duplicating how you built on social media using groups or using, however that is. But the people have to have the mindset to want it that bad. I myself wanted nothing more to be home with my kids and my wife. I mean, that was my number one absolute goal. And we all start at zero. I mean, right. So it's like, it was a struggle. I mean, it was a total struggle because leaving what I was doing and kind of not leaving it. It was, times were tough, and it was one of those things where I wanted it so bad that I wasn't going to let myself self-sabotage. And I almost did. And I'm sure a lot of leaders, a lot of people that can say that, but it's business. You have to fight through the bad times. And just like in my mortgage company, we had amazing times and we had some terrible times, so, and that goes along with anything. So the main thing here is you guys, and this is for anybody, but you guys we have amazing leadership, amazing training. If you're not utilizing it, you're not going to get the fruits of the labor from it. You're not. And that's, does it take time? Does it take energy? Does it take sometimes late nights and early mornings and all of it? Yeah. How do you think we've gotten to where we're at? We've had to, and we got, 3 kids. So it's like, I get that same excuse. I'm sure we all do, kids and, full-time jobs and all that kind of stuff. We've all been there, Is it doable? Absolutely. And it just depends on how bad people want it. And that's why staying plugged into the team is so vital. When you have problems, you're struggling, ask. Just pick up the phone, type it out, text it. There's so many forms of communication nowadays. Just get a hold of somebody on your team and reach out, because there's nobody on any team, your team, any team, that can't do this business. Every single person can if you want it bad enough. And Brianna, the stories of coaches that don't have coaches really,
right.
and it's like there's those stories too, and huge success, So, it's, you have to have it in here to really want it, and the passion to really help people, and you'll get everything that you want out of this business. That's one thing about Beachbody. It's so rewarding. That if you stay the course and you stay on I call it staying on the grind. My guy talk, you stay on the grind, you're gonna get somewhere with it, and it's that important. We have so much guidance now, So,
yeah, for sure. I think. Bom, did you have a question?
Yes. Aside when you first built up to 10-star and then you fell all the way down, did you do anything different when you rebuilt, or did you do it the same way? Or
I absolutely, well, when I rebuilt, the first thing I learned in the business was from Pete, was from, one of my mentors, Pete. He was also the first person I met in the business. We literally had the napkin draw out how to place people in your CBCs, right? So I learned placement. And so I built structurally the same way, but me as a coach was completely different. I actually reached out to my, people, finding out, because at that time, so many, we were sponsoring so many people. It was, that kind of got the lead, rather than we were having business opportunities. You almost didn't know who was a discount coach and who wasn't really. But the difference in me as a coach was I would reach out to them. We had a new coach welcome email letter that would go out to each new coach. which would then outline, just a welcome to the team, no limits. And then we plugged in the 3 videos on how to, set up your back office, the very basic steps, right? We then, we have a coach outline, which is kind of, getting to know you, and we have these certain questions on there, kind of like a coach portrait. I think we actually copied one from in the wall. There was one in the wall a long time ago, years ago, that somebody posted. I don't even know who it was. And we just, so many of these tools that we've used, a lot of them we didn't create ourselves. You know what I mean? We saw ideas that were posted, and from other leaders, and getting to be friends. That's another thing. Going to these events and connecting with other coaches, and getting to be friends with them, and just connect, just like me and Brianne. Getting connected with other people for these events has helped us tremendously, because we share, and our team is like a family too, where it's like we share everything. Our trainings, our business in a box that my wife created. It houses all of our challenges, all of our different things, our scripts that we've created that we know work. All these things. And so we became a lot more structured on what we did. So if I was signing you up today, Barbara, I would let you know, hey, Barbara, you're going to get an email that's going to welcome you to the team, and follow these few steps. And once you read through it, you do these steps, you're going to connect, you're going to contact me back, and we're going to get on a phone call together, and we're going to get you added to the team page and into our new coach training boot camp. So, and so those are the next steps. But we developed a system. We knew we were missing something big, and we knew we all figured it out. It was like, okay, we're just signing people up and saying, hey, here's what we're doing, go do this. But we weren't really getting them involved. We were introducing them to the team still and doing those types of things, but we had no structure on setting up your back office and doing the basics to get them going. It was kind of like throwing you in the middle of a pit, or throwing a bunch of stuff against the wall, and hoping something sticks. So, but that was just it was a night and day difference. And this was a long time ago, so we've been doing this now this way for quite a while. And now, of course, we have our own boot camp and our own Emerald to Diamond trainings and stuff like that we run and our team runs. And so it's but structured. We got organized. My wife is crazy organization, and I am the other part of the other side of that. So together we work well together. But yeah, that was the biggest game changer for us.
Okay, thank you.
And I can share the business in a box with you guys. It just kind of give you an idea of like a template, to things that, Brianne, I can send it to you, and it's just an Evernote link.
Right.
And it's an Evernote link that has our structure to what we do, and where our team can say, hey, go to module, where's this at? Oh, module 5, and they can, so everybody talks in modules, so they know. And that was a really big thing for our team, was to get everybody talking the same language. We figured if we could get our team talking the same language, we could help more people on our team, because there's always people that get lost, big team. And that how it is. I tell one of my coaches, this is this right here. And then he relates it to his coaches at about 80%. And then it goes related down, gets down to like 5%, and so that coach is lost. Like, this team has no training. This team, we don't have nothing, and they don't, so we do a really good job of that. And that's where the new coach welcome email, that are links to our trainings. Every single coach on the team, I don't care if they're 20 levels deep, whatever, they have it. We make sure they have it. And so, so we've seen a lot less cancellations. I mean, we had, of course, in the beginning, we had a ton of cancellations, and to this day, I mean, very, very few at all, you know. I mean, you're always going to have some, unless you're Janelle Summers, you know, so.
Thank you.
Awesome. Does anybody else have any questions for Judd?
Well, you know, I tell you what, you know, if you take anything away from this call, you know, and I can bounce around and talk all day, Brianne, but main thing is, you know, if you have the belief, I mean, you should have the belief. You're here on the call, and anybody who's going to listen to this call, you know, because they're taking the initiative to listen, you know, don't give up. This is only getting better with what's coming, with, you know, everything that's on the horizon. Leadership's coming, and God only knows what's coming at leadership, you know. And I tell you what, this is the time to go all in. This is the time to really focus on the activities to connect with people, because when you know and you see what's coming and how the company is working to get better at, you know, the communications on their side, on, you know, coach relations, on customer service, you know, where the money's going to I would say fix all of these things from the growth pains that we've been experiencing. Remember, 5 years ago, right? You can imagine that I don't know how many coaches were in the network, but it wasn't very many, right? The customer service was amazing, and we didn't have a diamond line. So, but you know, all of these things are getting addressed, and along with the new products that are coming and the new workouts and all of these things, I mean, you guys, we have so much to look forward to, and this is the time to focus. Seriously get focused. If it's social media, if it's fit clubs, whatever it is to you that you want, however you want to work this business. For me, it was getting good at social media so I could go sit on the beach and work, you know, or I could travel and go work. I want to go be in the desert in 100-degree heat driving my off-road car. That's where I want to go be, you know. And so I wanted to be completely mobile. And so focus on that now, because this is what's going to give you the freedom to go do this anywhere you want. And with what's coming, I'm telling you, just like every single year, it keeps getting better and better. And you want to be a part of those launches. You want to be a part of the hammer and chisel launch. You want to be a part of, you know, everything that's going to be coming at leadership. If you're not a part of it, you're missing out sitting on the sidelines, watching all of us succeed with these launches. You don't want to be that person. I was that person in the beginning because I had no idea how to do a launch or what to do. I did, you know, 3 years ago. So having been a part of a lot of them now and getting the fruits of that labor and being able to help that many more people because I went all in to learn it and spend the time. And like Brianne said on our call, sacrificing to learn, you know, whether that was late nights, early mornings, whatever it was, you know, she had to do it. Same thing with me. And so it's that important. Once you get involved in those things, once you learn those things, that's going to stick with you. And you're going to be so successful because you spent the time to learn how to launch. And you guys, how many launches do we have a year? A lot. We you know, they're always working on new stuff. There's a trend there. So get good at that. Focus on that and don't look back. You're going to have your ups and downs. You're going to lose people. You're going to lose rank sometimes. You know what? So what? Keep working. Keep going. That's what you got to do. And then you'll have a successful, thriving, sustainable business. So I hope this helps. And I tell you what, I get all fired up as it's so exciting to be a part of this and you know, to be work, you know, especially, you know, working with awesome people. So Brianne, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, you guys, listen, seriously, leadership is coming. We've been chattering about it for, I feel like, weeks now, because we're used to it being in September, and there's so much stuff coming down the pipeline there. I feel like leadership is going to be full of announcements this year. So I feel like, guys, get ready, because I kind of feel like like we don't even know how big it's going to get. I feel like they've been tiptoeing around so many different things that I feel like they're all going to let it they're all going to let it out. And just
not to leak it, right?
somebody's going to leak something. But they've been getting better at kind of tightening those up. So I feel like maybe we'll be really surprised in a few weeks. But thank you so much for taking the time with us tonight. I know it's like dinner time out there, so I appreciate you taking the time to chat with us and share your story and your struggles with us. And I know that I got a lot out of it, and I hope everybody else did too. So thank you.
Hey, no problem. It's great. Hey, it's great to spend time with your team, and like I said, I mean, just don't give up, keep going. That's the main thing. That's focus on what needs to be done and get it done. That's the main thing. So, Brianne, thank you very much. It was awesome. And
thanks, guys.
All right, we'll see you guys.
Have a good night, guys.